Is the Lore of Yin a hidden gem in patch 8.0? Well, there's a stealth spell in it too, to be sure. Let's take a good look at a lore considered to be chock with utility and flexibility and see what pain points it addresses best. The passive, Power of Yin, activates upon casting, of course, delivering armor -15 and speed -10% to your enemies for a whopping 18 seconds. What's the catch? Oh, the caster needs to be within 55 meters of an enemy when casting for it to have any effect. This means Yin casters want to cast somewhere near the enemy's face while trying to minimize risk. If you're Miao Ying, squishiness is less of an issue. Storm of Shadows is a mere 4 winds normal, 8 winds overcast. It's 200 meters range, 29 seconds duration. The target has inflicted upon it speed -45% and sharp speed -45% also. Overcast, it's all enemy units in a 35-meter radius rather than a single target. So everything in that group is moving 45% slower toward your gun and crossbow lines, and if the caster is within 55 meters, that's 55% slower instead of 45%. Cooldown of 28 seconds. Also, let's point this out now, that's with 100% spell intensity. Use the Mastery of the Elemental Wind system with extra Cathay spellcasters in the house, and this number will rise, and your enemy's speed will fall. Put bluntly, not only is this amazing for triggering casting passives, including those of special items, a slow spell that you can escalate to area of effect is immensely powerful when leading enemies into your yin-oriented missile troops. Feast on this capability. Abuse it mercilessly. Cloak of Jet is 4 winds normal, 6 winds overcast. Self or ally, 1 target in 200 meters of range, and for a duration of 29 seconds, or 58 seconds if overcast. Cooldown of 28 seconds, gains the traits Stalk, Unspottable, which reduces detection range aggressively, and Snipe, so you can fire without being directly targetable beyond the rather short range that Unspottable forces upon the enemy. Since you're limited to 1 target, certain uses are cheeky as much as useful, getting an Iron Hill gunner unit to flank without being seen until the last moment perhaps. So, Snipe is very situational but can be really helpful in a missile duel. What's more reliable is that this is a way to make a mobile unit unspottable, including Jade Lancers, Transformed Dragon Lords, and Great Longma Riders. Onyx Crowman can do plenty of damage in the right places, so no need to discount that. Blossom Wind is a damage spell that isn't on Miao Ying's split lore list. In terms of how you aim it, it's like Wind of Death. For 9 winds normal, 14 overcast, it's 6 meters wide, 10 second duration, 20 meters per second. So this aimed across the battle line is going to travel an enormous distance. And yeah, it'll bounce off the insides of city walls. Damage is 18 normal, 24 overcast, but in both cases, the listed damage is 100% armor piercing, of course magical attack, and therefore Chaos Warrior save. Cooldown is 45 seconds. Watch out for spell resistance like with dwarfs obviously. What that won't help with is that it inflicts the blinded contact effect debuff, which lasts for 10 seconds and inflicts melee attack -24, melee defense -24, and accuracy -30. That's super strong! Not ironically, that is amazing and astounding for turning a fight in your favor potentially. Only 10 seconds, but hey, if you actually manage that with the passive running from casting nearby, well, your Tiger Warriors will rip and tear at a faster rate, won't they? And be safer doing it for a few blows. Missile Mirror requires some very specific explanation. This spell is 10 winds normal, 15 overcast. It's 200 meters normal, 400 meters overcast, lasting 18 seconds normal, 36 seconds when overcast. Cooldown is 44 seconds. What this does is make one enemy missile unit, when it is firing, reflect projectiles back upon itself, leaving their target unharmed. In other words, it is targeting one of the enemy's units, not your own. It is irrelevant and unrelated which one of your units is being attacked, so long as one of your units is. As I demonstrate, the point of the Overcast spell is to make artillery damage itself at especially long ranges, but I don't think these projectiles reflect splash damage at all. Correct me if I'm wrong though. I wouldn't want to rely on this spell to crush a unit by itself, but the Yin playstyle means using your own missile forces too. This is especially useful for isolating a regiment of renown, and during the duration, what's more important than the damage the enemy is doing to itself is the damage it's not doing to you. But that only neutralizes one unit at a time. Talons of Night is a straight-up vortex spell for 18 winds, 25 overcast. I point a finger directly at Black Whirlwind, used by Eshin sorcerers, as a comparison because this damage is 100% armor piercing, but here the damage starts higher and gets higher still. 5 points at 100% armor piercing normal cast, 8 points overcast per second. Obviously it's magical attack. However, in both cases, the duration is 13 seconds, radius is 15 meters, range is 200 meters, cooldown 50 seconds default. So within those limitations, you're getting pure, raw, unfiltered armor-piercing damage in a stationary location, like a nice, well-behaved Pit of Shades. This is thus really, really good as a blob destroyer, and plays nice with your static combat lines. What about when those static lines get broken or flanked? That's what our final spell is for, Ancestral Warriors. 16 wins normal, 22 seconds overcast, 2 max per battle. This is a summons. The duration of the wiki says 52 seconds. I don't know if they updated this for the global increase to summon uptime. More to the point, 50 meters range, normally 150 meters range overcast. As my footage inadvertently established, interrupting the spellcaster by punting her into next week will prevent these summons because it has a long wind-up. Now, how about the warriors themselves? Very simply, this is an ethereal version of Jade Warrior's halberds. Ethereal, and thus with frostbite and magical attack, but not there for big damage generally, and very much targeting large units. But the true value in it is that it has a halberd's charge defense versus large and charge reflection too, at least as best I can tell. Therefore, this is an a short notice, stopgap reinforcement, a roadblock unit, and a thorny deterrent against something throttling your backline. Can't wait for the cavalry to arrive? Cast this summons, and the rampaging fire chicken has to take notice. That wraps up the lore. It feels like there's something for everyone, but we started with the strongest stuff. Everything you cast can do a really good passive for making ranged units stronger, and only the purest armor-piercing damage, Iron Hail, Crane Gunners, won't feel like it benefits. Your bread and butter are crossbows and benefit enormously. The passive alone will stack with everything an alchemist gives you, from Plague of Rust, and anyway, more broadly, you sold me with just the slows. This lore is already great, addressing some of your biggest pain points: fast attackers, being hit by stuff from behind, dealing with rival missile factions, and having different damage options against mass troops, because your Crane Gunners can handle single targets. The higher end will be all about combos with other lores. Hopefully this has helped make Yin a little less obscure. Take care, and have fun turning your talons into tasty enemy tears.